You are listening to Did You Hear?
Did you hear?
Did you hear?
Did you hear? The Johnson County Library Podcast.
This is your Library Insider.
In this episode of Did You Hear, we have some answers for you about library services during the stay-at-home order. We also have a report from our makers as they help take on COVID-19 by doing what they do best, making. We'll also give you some tips about what to check out from our eLibrary, and we'll share some of our favorite author quotes. But first, our weekly word.
Solicit. Ask for or try to obtain something from someone.
Welcome to another edition of Did You Hear? So, Melissa, hi, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, Home Slice. How are you?
Well, guess why the weekly word is solicit?
Solicit? I don't know if I want to know, Dave. I'm worried.
Well, we've actually run out of weekly words. And so I don't know if you know this, but Jamal Lang records all of our weekly words for us. We have exhausted our list of weekly words. So we need to get more words for him to record. And the way we do that is through Facebook. And so if you all out there in our listening audience would please go to Facebook and give us the words that you think are most useful at this moment of time, we would appreciate that. And you will hear them on the podcast as we share them with the world.
Are we allowed to solicit our listeners? I mean, we are part of the county and all.
Yes.
I guess that if it's just for cool words that we give to Jamal, then it's probably okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So how you doing?
Well, I'm at home with my family and our cat, and our house is small and we have one bathroom. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's been fun. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, it's been an adjustment, but I mean, I think it's been an adjustment for everyone in the world. And
I think so. Yeah, I'm complaining about being in my house with my one bathroom, but at least I know where my people are, and I know that we're all safe and healthy right now, and a lot of other people don't have that blessing. So,
yeah. As you know, we normally record the podcast at the Central Resource Library, and we often bring in other librarians or guests from outside, and we're sitting face to face. Obviously, you can't do that right now. No.
I have no idea what Dave looks like anymore.
Well, what we do now is we're using a piece of software called Zencastr. And the reason I mention, how we make the sausage is that you might hear some audio warbles here or there, but basically what we do is we record this all online with our guests. So I think this is a good time to bring up who we're talking to this week. Are you ready for this?
I am. I talked to some of these people. Who did I talk to this week?
Well, several librarians have called in with eLibrary tips and author quotes. So those are pretty fun and exciting. Then we did some interviews. We have talked to the internal and external communication managers to get the frequently asked questions answered by official sources. This is where you go, ooh,
wow. I'm sorry, I was trying to figure out if the cat's chasing a bug.
That's the other part of working from home. There's a lot of distractions.
And there's shiny things all around me, so it's pretty much a lost cause, man.
Well, I've got a cat that likes to unplug the USB connected devices. So you think you're charging, and then you go to grab it, and no. But, oh, man, really?
Oh, my gosh. I think I just got all of this infection stuff figured out. It's the cats of the world. It's the final phase and them taking over, and they've learned how to unplug all of our electronics so that we'll be isolated and that they're merging.
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
So, also in this episode, we have, in addition to the FAQs, we talked to the folks at the MakersSpace because they're working. They're actually contributing to the fight against COVID-19. Did you
They're
know that?
working their fingers to the bone. They are working hard. They're
They are
sewing
awesome.
masks and they're
And
working on some 3D prints and yeah,
yeah,
they've got crazy things going on. I'm so proud
yeah.
of them.
You're going to want to hear that interview. And in addition to that, Greg Windsor stops by for some reader's advisory, but he doesn't limit it to just books and audiobooks. He has some tips all across our eLibrary.
Greg for the win. I don't
So,
know if anybody out there in listener land, I wanted to loop back about something that you and I talked about on our Facebook pages just like the other day. And we recorded a whole podcast episode about e-resources. And
yeah.
I just discovered that we talked about one, and apparently I was not paying attention because I lost my mind when I realized that we've got Acorn TV with all those
Oh my gosh.
amazing British and BBC shows. I'm pretty sure
Right.
that I was still like in Canopy Afterglow or something because I just completely missed that. And that has made
Oh
my
yeah.
life livable.
Well, actually, this is a good time to tell folks go to jocolibrary.org. Main navigation on that top blue bar, eLibrary. You're going to want to click that and see that we have ebooks, e-audiobooks, e-learning, e-magazine, e-music,
E-mania, e-everything. And if you have any trouble,
e-newspapers.
yeah, if you
But
have any
what you were
trouble
just talking
getting
about,
into, well,
you
I
were
want
just
to give
talking
the
about,
people some tips. If you have
yeah.
any trouble getting into any of these resources, you're able to drop us an email or pop into our answers, and we will be able to walk you through these problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we've got reference librarians and info specialists who have been answering emails for the last couple of
Yeah.
weeks, and we've been helping a
Oh,
ton of
yeah.
people with PIN codes. So
Yeah, and the only one we left out was streaming video, which you mentioned Acorn TV. There's also IndieFlix, but the one that I'm crazy about, there's Naxos video library, but the one that I'm crazy about is Canopy. And for folks with
Canopy,
kids, Canopy Kids is pretty awesome. And I got to
yeah,
tell
it
you, my
is.
my personal experience is I put the app onto my smart TV, and so the icon for Canopy is just right there alongside Hulu and Netflix. And so,
Same with Acorn. Yeah. Acorn was super easy to get up and running. I mean, like, I didn't even have to tell it to import anything. I just logged in and it already knew who I was and what I wanted to watch.
okay, well, we could go on and on about the eLibrary, but are you ready to hear what the librarians have to suggest about our eLibrary? Here's some of their author quotes. Hear the Makerspace interview along with Reader's Advisory and our FAQs?
I cannot wait.
Then let's do it right now.
Stay safe, everyone.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Mora Young, and I'm a clerk at the Gardner, Edgerton, and Spring Hill branches. And I'd like to tell you about an eLibrary service that I found recently, and it is fantastic. If you go to eLibrary and under our tabs and click on e-magazines, you can go in there and download so many magazines into your library, and you can flip through them. You can read it using the text feature. It never expires. It never goes away, and you can always find so many magazines to choose from. And I've just really loved this service based on the fact that we all are trying to shelter in place, and I still feel like I can browse the magazine rack. Have a good day.
Bet. I'm an IS at Monticello, and I have been loving Acorn TV, which we can watch for free through the library, and just recently watched all of the Jack Irish, which is an Australian crime show that wonderfully blends like grim crime drama with humor. And it's one of those shows that you care just as much about the side characters as you do the main characters. And they're based on books, and I now want to read the books because I know that if the characters come off this great on screen, they have to be even more wonderful in the books. So hope you enjoy.
Hi, my name is Bree Hansen, And my title today is 101 Job Interview Questions You'll Never Fear Again. I work for at the Blue Valley Library, and this author is by James Reed. I'm an information specialist, and after looking at this book and listening to the narrator, which speaks British, you just can't help but stay tuned in this downloadable audiobook to learn the secret to excelling at job interviews. It talks about top interviewers and the recruiters, what questions that they're going to ask, should you say, and all the valuable information when you go to a job interview. So this is a great downloadable audio book. Enjoy.
Okay, so now we are going to talk about FAQs, COVID-19 related FAQs. And so to do that, we've brought in our internal communication manager and our external communication manager. Let's go to the introductions. Our internal communication manager is Laura Hunt. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Dave.
And our external communication manager is Alyssa Andre.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. So I know that all of this has caught us off guard, but I feel like we've done a really good job responding. And one way that we've done that is at the top of our webpage, jocolibrary.org, we have an alert. And if you follow the text there, you'll see that there is a link to our FAQ section. And so I want to make sure people are aware of that. But beyond that, I know that people have questions, and so let's go ahead and jump into some of those, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've had some folks wonder why we just don't have curb service the way restaurants do. Is there a reason behind that?
So our concern when we closed the library was just not knowing how the virus would transmit, especially on different surface materials like paper, cardboard, the plastic that is on the books. And so in order to make sure that our patrons were safe, our staff was safe when they're handling the books, we just decided to suspend those services. We know that it's hard for people to go without their books, and we are seeing if there's any possible way that we can get anything to people. But right now, that's going to be our eLibrary. That's your safest bet.
It seems like it's been the same question, but asked in a lot of different ways. So why no holds? Why not a makeshift tent outside in the parking lot? Why no curbside delivery? Or why not the drive-up windows? And so I wonder about that one. Is that a little different answer or the same thing?
I think it's the same thing. Sorry, this is Laura. I think that, unlike food takeout or grocery pickup, you take those items home and you keep them. And in the case of the library, if we were giving out books, we would then be taking them back as well. And so that means that we're circulating materials. We're not just giving things to people and having them take them home and keep them. And I think that's a bit of a difference.
Sure. And so based on our FAQ page, what are some of the most important ones that you have? I can look at that and, I know that people are worried about late fees. No late fees, right?
Correct. See, late fees are not accruing starting the day we closed, which was March 15th. So we cut off the system on that day, so no late fees will accrue for anything due after March 15th. We have bumped up due dates. There will be absolutely nothing due until, at minimum, April 30th.
Very good. And so you can get an e-card online. You would do that through our eLibrary. Does that give you full access?
Well, your e-card will give you access to any of our online resources. And so there's no verification needed for that. You just need to have a Johnson County address. So if you go to our website, it's at ecard.jocolibrary.org. You can get started with that. And then you will have access to all of our ebooks, e-audiobooks, e-newspapers immediately, and all of our research resources.
The eLibrary is always open.
That is true.
So that's great. So once again, the library material due dates, they've changed, right?
Correct.
Okay.
We've gotten a
Yep.
lot of questions from people who want to return their books because they are concerned about it, about getting fines. But we have our book drops closed right now, so you will absolutely not get fines. And of course, when we reopen, we will work with you to figure out, when things were due. If there's any issues with your account, you can always just let us know.
Right. And so to remind folks again, if they want to read through all of our FAQ information, they can go to jocolibrary.org, and that is in our alert at the top. There's a link to our FAQ section. And once again, the eLibrary is always open. Do you all have a favorite portion of the eLibrary?
I really like the e-newspapers. You can get Shawnee Mission Post, New York Times, all kinds of great stuff there.
Ah, Laura, you stole mine. I was going to say that as well.
Oh, well,
Uh,
we're writers.
I'm really excited actually about the special edition of Ancestry. It's the
Oh,
library,
yes.
which they normally only allow you to use in libraries, but they've made it available for patrons to use from the comfort of their home through the end of April. So that allows you to search most of the functionality that you'd have on ancestry.com. And, it's always fun to go digging around in your family history. So I'm pretty excited to dive into that this weekend.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today and being part of this podcast. Stay safe, and we will talk to you very soon.
Thanks, Dave. You as well.
So we are talking to MakersSpace facilitator Angelica. Hi, Angelica. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Melissa, are you there?
We can answer, can't we? Yeah, I'm here. I'm great. I'm far away from you guys.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that seems to be the case for all of us, and all of us at the library are carrying on with our work at home, which you might think is almost impossible to do as a makerspace facilitator because you guys are normally helping patrons use the equipment, but you all are putting your equipment to really good use. So, Angelica, can you tell us about some of the things you've been working on? And then maybe we'll talk about some of the things your coworkers have been working on.
Sure. I have a sewing machine at home that I was given to by my mom when I was like 16, and I noticed that we needed the frontline health professionals. Last options would be using cloth masks to cover the N95 mask. So I have been sewing up masks that I found patterns online for, and so that's what I have been working on.
Neat. So, how do you make these masks? What are the materials you're using?
So we're using 100% cotton. So some materials that you can use would be old T-shirts for the filter part on the back side that's closer to the face, and then just elastic bands, like 1/4-inch elastic straps.
Neat. And so I want to tell people that if you go to our website, jocolibrary.org, and you'll see our main feature, and you can always click the Our Stories button. That'll take you to other stories, and voila, there you are. If people want to take a look at you with your masks, and the title of the article is Healthcare Mask Wanted. And so, do you know much about what other people out in the community are doing?
I know that there is like this full movement that's going on with makers creating cloth masks around basically the world for health professionals. Um, and in the photo, I'm wearing two different patterns that we have shared the link for the tutorial or the actual instructions on how to create them. So one of them is the FU mask, and the other one is a surgical mask. And in the instructions, they do ask for using it specifies using reusable shopping totes, but you can also use 100% cotton in that, which the surgical mask works a little bit better because if it could fit over
I mean,
the
it sounds.
N. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I thought you
Oh,
cut out there for a moment.
the surgical mask fits over the N95, so then it prolongs the life of the original N95 mask for the healthcare worker.
Ah,
And then they could take
okay.
that home, the cloth mask, and wash it at home, and then
I see.
keep reusing it because that's what unfortunately it's come down to is reusing your pre-existing N95 mask.
Can you tell us how you came to find those patterns? Like, how did you know that those were good ones to use?
Actually, Brian found the surgical mask, and I read more about the fact that it could be reusable and you can take it off and wash it, and then place it over the pre-existing N95 mask. So, and then there's also like a Facebook group that's going on of all these makers or women who are creating different patterns. So I've kind of just been researching in that way.
Yeah. And so anyone that's listening out there, you can go to the website, read this article, and we've got the resources there if you would like to make masks on your own. And then completed masks can be dropped off at the Johnson County MedAC station at 205 East Flaming Road in Olathe. And it's kind of a really neat way for you to get involved, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Hey, so I think Brian Ortel has joined us. Brian, are you there?
I am here, I hope.
Hey, so Brian, what are you doing at home these days as a makerspace facilitator?
I've also been sewing masks, and I've employed my wife to help as well. So we are sewing masks, and I'm also researching ways to create other personal protective equipment for healthcare workers. One we're currently printing is a face shield. So it's a 3D printed headband that would hold a clear acrylic sheet to prevent spatter and sneezes to get. It's a shield for a face. So we are currently printing one of those and prototyping those to see if those would be feasible to give to healthcare workers.
That is really awesome. I think that's just such a great way for librarians to get involved in this COVID-19 fight. Did I hear you were also 3D printing ventilator parts?
We are not. There is a design group that they have access to a selective lasering sintering printer that has the ability to print medical grade parts. The machines we have are printing with layers of plastic and have some porosity, so they would not be completely medical grade. They're going to have areas where bacteria and viruses can hide. So we are not printing ventilation parts at the moment. We don't have the machines that can do that. We are investigating printing other things besides face masks, like maybe there are designs out there for ventilation splitters to allow multiple patients to use one ventilator, and we're keeping eyes out for other ways we can help.
Very cool. Well, it's good to know that our printers and our sewing machines and our equipment is being used for the greater good, if you will. I know that a lot of patrons were writing in to the reference librarians who were doing answers in the last 2 weeks, asking about what was going on with that equipment and what, if people could get in to use it. And we were like, no, we've got our makers already on tap.
Very good. Well, hey, we need to wrap this up, but I want to say thank you very much for the update, and we'll be back in touch in the very near future. In the meantime, please stay safe.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks, Melissa.
All right, so for this segment, we have Reader's Advisory Librarian Greg Windsor. Greg, how you doing?
Dave, how's it going? I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Oh, so you're adjusting to work at home and all of that?
I am. Like many of the listeners, I am at home with 2 small children, and my reading time is not quite my own. Also, my internet bandwidth gets taken over sometimes, so if I do fade out, that's probably the reason why.
Well, I know that so many patrons are missing the library and they really want to access good stuff. And so
Mhm.
that's why we brought you on, because we do have the eLibrary. So, what tips and tricks do you have to offer our patrons?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, the ebook section can be accessed either through our website at jocolibrary.org/ebooks. Also, you can download an app for your Apple or Android devices. Just go to your app store and look for Axis 360, AXIS 360. It's a free app you can download onto your phone. Log in with your Johnson County Library card number and your PIN, and thousands of ebooks and e-audiobooks are available for download, and it's fabulous. If you've maybe done ebooks or e-audiobooks in the past and maybe it's been a while, you may have to delete the app and then reinstall it.
Sure.
95% of the problems we get whenever patrons ask and they're saying they're having problems logging in, delete the app, reinstall. It'll get the newest, shiniest version of the app, and that'll usually get you going there.
And so, if anybody has trouble, they can contact our answers, right? Or telephone
Absolutely.
reference?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. They're working on getting TREF back up, but the answers is
Okay.
just on our front page, just jocolibrary.org. Scroll to the bottom, you'll see a little bar there. We can type in your questions, and librarians and staff are there to help you out.
Yeah, very good. And so, what is some of you have some suggestions? I take it for our
I
e-library.
do. I do, but I do want to say one important thing that during this very stressful time, I think for a lot of us, the inclination we have is like, oh, this is going to be a great time to read, to really catch up on all these books and all these things that maybe we've thought about reading and maybe just haven't had the chance to, and now this is your chance, right? But going through
Okay.
this kind of big process, it's okay not to read. If you need to get your mind right by watching streaming shows or listening to
Sure.
podcasts or doing doing whatever you need to do to get through your day.
Right.
Maybe settling down in front of like a giant tome of literary fiction may not be your thing. Maybe something that's
Well,
maybe that's something that's a little quicker or a little more genre might be more your thing. Um,
sure.
mhm. I would
Well, and
absolutely.
I've got to say that I find that just having a variety of different things that capture my interests, that's really helped out a bunch. And we've got a lot of different things available in our e-library, not just e-books, but e-audiobooks. If you want to learn something, if you want to peruse a magazine, you want to listen to music, newspapers, and then streaming video. There's Canopy and Acorn TV are just fantastic.
Acorn for my household. My wife loves the British procedural shows, like
Uh-huh.
like Foyle's War and Midsummer Murders. Acorn is fabulous for that.
Yeah.
Again, accessible with your library card through your streaming devices. But if you are at home and looking for something good and accessible and fun, and to really kind of get your mind off things, bless you.
Thank you.
I would recommend. There's three genres I'd absolutely recommend: fantasy, romance, and thrillers. These are three genres whose kind of their job is to kind of get their hooks in you early, so it doesn't take a whole lot of setup. You could really open up page one and just jump in and get it going. If you, Dave, are you a sci-fi fan, by the way? Just out
Sure,
of
sure.
curiosity. Yes. Have you ever read Martha Wells?
No, no.
She's fabulous. She writes. The reason why I really like to recommend her is that she writes kind of novellas, not quite mainstream big thick books. She writes kind of more short, 200-page novels, and she writes something called the Murder Bot series. And this is a
Okay.
far-flung future. The main character is a artificial intelligence robot in a kind of a corporate kind of world where AIs are kind of illegal or at least very reined in, very tightly regulated. But this one particular one figures out how to make itself free and decides to work for humans and tries to kind of make its own way in this big multi, ethnic and racial universe. And so, but this AI is very sarcastic and darkly funny, and it really
Okay.
wants to be left alone and watch reality TV shows. But with that aside, it's really smart and really fun. So if you ever want to give that a shot, Martha Wells' The Murderbot series, the first one is called All Systems Red. They're wonderfully readable, they're darkly funny, and they'll scratch that intellectual sci-fi itch that you might have.
Okay.
And for mystery is another good one that I would recommend. Mysteries really kind of immerse people in kind of a different locale. You can kind of go police procedural, something like a Michael Connelly. I like kind of historical fiction, maybe a little bit of literary fiction there to really kind of sink your teeth in. Lou Berney, Berney, writes a book called The Long and Faraway God. It came out several years ago, but it's won several awards. If you like, Dennis Lehane or The Wire, those types of things, dark and probing, but really, really accessible and grounded. That's going to be a good recommendation for you as well.
Very good. So any other genre recommendations?
Well, I mentioned fantasy. Now there's an author named Robert Jordan. He's done writing his series. He's since passed away, but I mention him because his the Wheel of Time series has been picked up by Amazon Studios, and they're actually shooting this. It's going to be the next kind of the next Lord of the Rings or the next Game of Thrones style big budget fantasy production. So if you want to jump ahead of the game, you can go back and read these books. So whenever the show does come out, you can kind of elbow your friends and say, hey, listen, I was into this before anybody else was. The first one is called The Eye of the World, and the series is called The Wheel of Time. It's big, sprawling, epic fantasy. It's great and wonderful and really immersive.
Anything else?
I'm going to leave you with one last one, another fantasy novelist, N.K. Jemisin. I'll spell that last name, Jemisin. She has really stormed the fantasy science fiction world and has won pretty much every award that you can possibly get. They're going to have to invent new awards for her to win because she's won them all. But she writes really wonderfully enriching fantasy and science fiction world. So if you're ever looking at yourself and you want to be challenged, if you really want to kind of sink into a really well thought out fantasy world, Jemisin is going to be absolutely up your alley.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for taking some time to talk over the internet, and I hope you and your family are happy and everybody is healthy and staying safe.
Absolutely. You as well, and hope that the best of luck and the best of health to all of our patrons out there listening. You guys are the ones that keep us going, and keep sending in your questions. Every Friday, I'm on Facebook, on the library's Facebook page, recommending books. So if you want to drop by and say hi, please do.
Well said. Take care, Greg.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Have a good one.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Thomas. I'm a page at the Oak Park Library. My author today is Thich Nhat Hanh. He is a Buddhist monk and founder of the Plum Village Monastery. His quote is from a book, The Miracle of Mindfulness, an Introduction to the Practice of Meditation. People usually consider walking on water or in thin air a miracle. But I think the real miracle is not to walk either on water or in thin air, but to walk on earth. Every day we are engaged in a miracle which we don't even recognize. A blue sky, white clouds, green leaves, the black, curious eyes of a child, our own two eyes. All is a miracle.
Hi, this is Stephanie at Oak Park Branch Library. I'm an information specialist, and I'm here to recommend Acorn TV's Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, and also the film The Crypt of Tears. Set in the 1930s, Melbourne, Australia, it is the perfect escape from everything that's going on right now. And it's just hilarious, delightful, and it's about a woman kicking butt who's still not afraid to fall in love and have a good time. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Angelica Rice, the children's librarian at the Oak Park Library. I just finished listening to an e-audiobook titled Miles Morales, the Spider-Man by Jason Reynolds. It's a teen fantasy. Miles is an honest and cool kid someone very personable and relatable from Brooklyn. And yes, he has a superpower. He's Spider-Man. I'd like to read you a paragraph from the beginning of the book. Miles was suspended for having to pee. Well, for saying he had to pee. After his history teacher, Mr. Chamberlain, said no, Miles begged. And once Mr. Chamberlain said no again, Miles left. So he was actually suspended for leaving the class. But here is the thing. Miles didn't really have to pee. And no, he didn't have to do that either. Miles had to rescue someone. Now, I'm originally from Russia, and for me, the unsurpassable value in listening to the actor Guy Lockhart narrating the book is enjoying his authentic Brooklyn accent instead of listening to my authentic Russian accent while reading the paper version of the book. Lockhart is a superb narrator who masterfully impersonates different characters and truly gives the book the voice. If you're in the mood for a superhero coming-of-age story with some deep exploration of our time and bias, give this book a try. Miles Morales, The Spider-Man by Jason Reynolds.
Hi, this is Tiffany Rennie, and I am a youth service specialist at Blue Valley Library. And the eResource that I am wanting to introduce today is called Culturegrams. It is this great resource that allows you to explore different countries without leaving the comforts of home. It tells you the history about the country. It gives you population and geography details. It tells you a ton of information about the different cultures that live in that country. And it has all these amazing pictures of people going about their daily lives. So I love Culturegrams. It's a really great resource. It would be especially good to be used for homeschooling, while you have your kids at home, to teach them about the world that they can't go out and see right now. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Jess, an information specialist at Blue Valley Library. While I've been at home, I've been really enjoying our collection of e-magazines. Some great titles I've flipped through are Mindful Magazine to get some tips on how to handle stress and anxiety, which many of us are feeling right now. Bon Appetit to get some recipe ideas now that I have more time for kitchen adventures. And National Geographic to daydream about traveling to places outside my house. With your library card, you have access to all of these titles and many more. Just head to our website and you'll find e-magazines under the eLibrary tab on our homepage. Happy browsing!
Hi, this is Melody Kenneman, and I am the Incarcerated Services Librarian. And my quote is by Randall Horton from his memoir called Hook, a Memoir. Sometimes we need to be taken out of the real world to realize what we need to do when we get back out there.
Hi, this is Jessica Jansen. I'm a youth information specialist at the Lenexa City Center Library. I would recommend the e-audiobook Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren.
Hi, David. This is Michelle Horton from the Lenexa City Center branch, and I just wanted to call in and tell you how much I love the library's Acorn TV screening service through RB Digital. It is fabulous. I love all the stuff on there, but especially they have the world premiere of the new Miss Fisher and the Crypt of Tears movie. It is perfect for all those Miss Fisher fans out there. And on another note, the series is based on a set of books from author Carrie Greenwood. So I just really love this service through the library. Hope that helps. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Miss Emily from Monticello Library. I would like to encourage you to use our genealogy resources at jocolibrary.org. There are lots of good resources on there. I suggest you check out Family Search. You can create your own family tree and connect with other family trees to learn more about you and your family.
Hi, my name is Bree Hansen. I'm an information specialist at the Johnson County Library Blue Valley Neighborhood Library Branch. And my quote, the author is James Austen, author of Pride and Prejudice.
And my quote is, I declare after all there is no enjoyment like reading. Thank you.
Hey, this is Becky Carlton. I am a youth information specialist at the Oak Park Library. And one of my favorite author quotes is this by David Sedaris. I think it's important to read with a generous spirit. If you're going to pick up a book and say, I'll never be that good, well, it's not about you. Just celebrate the fact that anyone's that good. When I read something great, I know I'll never be that good, but the fact that anyone can be that good is beautiful to me.
For more episodes of Did You Hear, go to the Johnson County Library website, jocolibrary.org/didyouhear. Please, stay safe, everyone.